Hello again everyone. It's gonna get sickening for you, but here is probably what's going to be the last update before the final result of the Public Health Wales Bill proceedings. And at the end of the last video which I did on this, we are now at stage 3 of the process, which means that it'll be put in front of the entire Assembly, where any Assembly members can table amendments to change the current version of the Public Health Wales Bill on any topic. And a few amendments have already been released on the Welsh Assembly Public Health Wales Bill web page, and these amendments are pretty much, from some of the AMs involved, are very familiar to us and what I've explained before. So we're going to have a quick look at what amendments have been tabled, how they'll affect the bill, whether they're positive or negative, and unfortunately we'll have to have a look at what Mark Drakeford, the current Health Minister, is tabling himself on behalf of Welsh Labour and the Welsh Government. So let's look at the first load, and these are from Kirsty Williams of the Welsh Lib Dems and supported by Darren Millar of the Welsh Conservatives. Right, so here are some of the amendments first tabled by Kirsty and supported by Darren. Here are a selection of those amendments. So we have Darren and Kirsty doing pretty much what they did at stage 2 to remove anything relating to nicotine inhaling devices, aka vaping products, or the use of them anyway. So Darren and Kirsty are doing exactly what I thought and other advocates thought as well. They're doing exactly what we hoped them to do. They're putting in amendments to remove references to NIDs throughout the bill. So yes, that's what we like to see. And what this means is that currently I can do this wherever I want, as long as I get permission or be told otherwise that I can't vape in wherever I am. Fantastic, I'll be able to use one of these wherever I am, as long as the premises holders policy says I can. As you can see, there is a lot of leave out section. Leave out section 3, leave out section 5, leave out section 14, leave out section 15. And these sections are relating to nicotine inhaling devices. Whether it's the premises you can use them or can't use them in, the offences which you will probably be committing if the bill stays as it is, for using a nicotine inhaling device in an enclosed public place, hospital, place offering childcare, blah blah blah. We've gone over it before. So what Kirsty, with the support of Darren, is doing is great. They get it. They get vaping. They get it as a harm reduction avenue. So they're doing what they can to make vaping freely visible and acceptable, with the right message that the use of vaping products, e-cigs, whatever you want to call them, is a good thing. Because, as Jocelyn said when we interviewed her, it's sending the wrong message if you group vaping with smoking and have the same sort of offences for me doing this or if I was lighting up a tobacco cigarette in the middle of a shopping centre right now. So thumbs up from me. Yeah, so let's move on. And Darren Millar of the Welsh Conservatives has put something in himself. At the moment it is not supported by Kirsty Williams or anyone else that I can see. So here's a screenshot of the amendment that I've picked out from Darren, and it is called Review and Report Nicotine Inhaling Devices. As you can see, it was tabled on the 24th February. So what does it essentially mean? Right, I've got to stress that this is my interpretation. I'm not a politician. I've not done any political studies at all. But this is what I think it says. Let's have a look. Ministers must carry out a review of the operation of the provisions of this chapter insofar as they apply to the use of nicotine inhaling devices, with a view of seeking to assess their impact on health of people of Wales, and in particular their effect on the use of nicotine inhaling devices by children and smoking by children. Right. Okay. What Darren is essentially proposing there is for the Welsh Government, or a body appointed by the Welsh Government, to collect data on whether the restrictions or the offences are actually working. Because as far as I can see, this amendment puts pressure on the Welsh Government, assuming that it stays Labour after May, to produce evidence, which they haven't done at all during this process of restricting vaping products, restricting the use of vaping products as part of this bill. So I think that's a very good thing. He's putting pressure on ministers. He's putting pressure on ministers to produce the goods, essentially. Alternatively, goes, if having compiled with subsection 2, which is just above, Welsh ministers may carry out a further review of the operation of the provisions in this chapter in so as far as they apply to the use of nicotine inhaling devices. They must prepare and publish a report of the review and lay the report before the National Assembly of Wales. So they'll have nowhere to hide. They'll be scrutinised from the opposition, whoever it may be. So overall, this amendment can influence the roundedness of the bill, if you so, for a word. Because if this review and report shows that nicotine inhaling devices aren't used by children, they don't make them go on to smoking. They don't make adults who aren't smokers turn to smoking or vaping. So it could mean, if this report and the suggestions at the end of the report are anything to go by, depending on the data in the report, nicotine inhaling devices could actually be removed from the bill once this report is published. But it does mean a little bit more work for the Welsh Government, and if they're Labour, they don't like doing much work, I must admit. So, yeah. So that's one that I think another AM should support, or others as well. Right, now I get on to the point which I don't really want to be doing, and this is showing what Mark Drakeford, the Health Minister, has been proposing. As I see it, a lot of jargon, as usual from Mark Drakeford, as we've seen before, but it affects not just vaping but smoking as well. He's ever so slightly turning the screw, if you get my meaning. He's making things tighter and tighter and tighter as the bill goes on to specific parts of smokers and vapers' lifestyles. And we can't be having that. It's a liberty. It's free will. It's a choice. He's nannying. Nanny Drakeford, please leave us alone right now. Actually, I've decided against showing you amendments because I'm struggling with them, therefore I can't quite convey what they actually mean. But on gut feeling, most of the time a gut feeling is only what someone needs, and apparently Mark Drakeford's got a gut feeling that vaping leads into smoking, blah 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 blah. So my gut feeling on Mark Drakeford's amendments is that he wants to extend the current indoor smoking ban to outside premises, which include school grounds, and that should be the choice of the school really, rather than in legislation. And exactly the same for hospitals. Most hospital grounds now are smoke free, even though it's not enforced. So whether legislation will help the enforcement of it all is another thing. I don't personally see that working. It's still early in the day. As I record this, it is 3 days before the deadline for all amendments to be in. So I'm hoping to see more amendments put in by AMs before March the 1st. Hopefully Plaid Cymru AMs will see sense and put amendments in if they're contacted. Is passed in its current form after stage 2. I won't be permitted to vape in my flat if I had a child and I pay for a babysitter, because it'll turn into their workplace, even though it's my premises. Yeah, we're losing out there. And pubs. If the pub serves food, we're losing out there. But in terms of gaining, if Kirsty's and Darren's amendments regarding nicotine inhaling devices are supported by more than 50% of the Assembly, so this means some of the Labour AMs have to jump ship to get them passed. And we've seen this before at the European level with the TPD. Some are whipped, some will probably vote it down because they're not understanding or whatever. But it's all up for grabs. I'm starting to ramble. So this has been the last update on the Public Health Wales Bill. The next video you will see from me regarding this will be the outcome of the bill, how it looks, probably how bad it is, and yeah, so I shall see you then. Take care, happy vaping, remember, lobby, lobby, lobby your AMs. Ta-ra for now.